We're back. MissedOnPoints Podcast number 4. We're doing well with this. You guys love us. Joe's getting recognized in the street. I'm getting sponsorship deals.
Wait, you're getting sponsorship deals?
I am not sharing those with Joe. We will discuss this off the podcast.
Seriously, we didn't get as much love on podcast number 3 as number 4. So tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your husband.
No, hide your wife, hide your kids, whichever way that goes. We're going to start with a couple of things. We're going to talk about NASCAR. So all you NASCAR fans out there, stay tuned. We will talk about NASCAR.
There will be a NASCAR segment.
There is. But first, let's talk about the NFL Super Bowl.
Was there a Super Bowl?
I
watched a lot of commercials.
I think Tom Brady's wife got upset.
I heard that she got upset. Those Germans have a temper. Is she German? Giselle Bündchen? She sounds German to me.
Nein, sprechen Sie Deutsch? Listen, this is probably going down as one of the more boring Super Bowls.
Wait. I'd just like to say one thing. There's only 2 words that matter about the Super Bowl. I won. I was right. I was right. You were wrong. I bet against the Giants over and over again, then I learned my lesson, and you made the mistake of going with my daughter. You bet with the 9-year-old, and you lost.
Listen, the 9-year-old had a good track record.
Yes, but she changed her methodology. She was really good because she was just doing it based on strength of mascots. But then she started watching the games, and once that way lies madness, obviously. So
I clearly thought that the Patriots had more firepower argument was convincing.
I said Gronkowski was hurt, and that was the difference, wasn't it?
No. Agreed. Gronkowski being hurt
was the difference.
Was
a healthy Gronk would have changed the outcome of that game.
Well, a healthy Gronkowski catches a Hail Mary pass that he just almost caught.
Yeah.
This game was boring.
It was.
There was not a lot of drama. I would just like to say...
There was drama at the end, but you kind of felt like Brady didn't have anybody to throw the ball to.
No, when they started dropping pass, when Welker dropped that one pass before the game-winning touchdown, you knew it was over.
It was over.
Yeah. This leads into something I've been saying for about 3 weeks now, which is the Peyton Manning versus Eli Manning discussion. We should really sit down and talk about that. I mean, we're sitting now, but we should probably talk about that.
I think we should talk about that once it becomes clear whether or not Peyton's going to play.
As of right now.
I mean, as of right now, no one's... the last report I heard is that he's been cleared to play, which means he's not going to get hurt playing, but everyone agrees that his arm strength is 0 right now.
Yeah, I've heard his arm strength is pretty bad, but if both their... Well...
the word noodle has been thrown around a lot.
Generally, when someone refers to you as a noodle...
Yeah, any part of your body... Okay, let's not go there.
Matt Ryan has a noodle, and he needs Viagra.
It's the word on the street.
Hey. So, here's my thing. If we were having a conversation about Eli Manning versus Peyton, I think that we're talking about 2 different quarterbacks. We're talking about a regular season quarterback and a postseason quarterback. And I think it's very clear who's the better regular season quarterback.
Yes.
And who's the better postseason quarterback.
Yes.
And I think the problem is trying to say overall who's best. But I think there's something about the fact that Eli is 2-0 in a Super Bowl versus Tom Brady. And Bellon.
No, that's a good argument. I feel like, I almost want Peyton. For a while, I have been wanting Peyton to retire because I'm kind of worried about him.
You hate him because he went to Tennessee, don't you?
No, in fact, while he was at Tennessee, the years were good. If Phil Fulmer hadn't been one of the worst coaches ever, we would have had a national championship with Peyton Manning.
I'm just saying, T. Martin, what up, baby?
Yeah, no, way to go, T. Martin. The only bad thing I have to say about T. Martin is that he kept Phil Fulmer in a job for a few more years.
That's factually correct.
But I almost want Peyton to go back and play now because if he were to go to another team, which it looks like he's going to do, and he were to have postseason success with that team, if he were to go to, say, Arizona, which is the hot rumor right now, and he were to play and he were to really give Larry Fitzgerald another great quarterback to throw to him, then I think this would be a very different conversation. So I almost want that to happen. Even though I fear for Peyton's health.
Well, there are 2 things I want to discuss while we're on the NFL. The first is, now that the season's over, going into next season, who are your top 5 teams, if you can think of any? And the next question is, because we're going to talk about these quarterback rankings in a second.
Right.
Is kind of some teams where Peyton should go if he's released that make a lot of sense.
Okay, well, you've got to pick the Giants as a top 5 team. Although they had so many injuries in the Super Bowl that you kind of wonder what's going on. Here's the reason I would continue to pick them as a top 5 team. And that is that I think they showed that they have a pretty damn good wide receiving core.
Their wide receiving core is is probably one of the best in
It's
football.
much better than I thought it was.
I
so with that, and Eli seems like he's got it going on. I don't know. Are they kind of like the Chargers, but with a lot better mojo, where the Chargers always seem to screw up at some point in the season and then not quite make it, whereas the Giants always seem to screw up and then do make it?
I bet you the Chargers are really upset about the trade.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But whatever. So that you've got to rank them. You've got to rank the Packers.
Yeah, absolutely.
High up there. I feel like you have to rank the 49ers high. Because that defense is staunch, and there's no way Alex Smith's getting worse.
I'm going to get on that in a second, but okay. Okay.
I don't know. Who else was really good? The Pats, I don't know. I feel like the Pats, if they don't get some help for Tom Brady.
Are you referring to offense or defense?
I'm talking about offense. Their defense is not good, but it played well in the postseason.
If you would have told me that their defense, gave up 21 points?
Yeah.
Yeah, 21 points. I'm thinking Brady scores 24 at least. But I will say about the Pats, and you tell me if you saw this too. This is something that, shout out to Shaq Diesel, pointed out to us. Did you see how wide open Ocho Cinco was on a lot of routes?
Yeah.
And we can't figure out why he didn't get thrown the football.
Yeah, there's something weird going on there, and he seems to have rededicated himself.
I think he has a lot left in the tank.
I think there are a couple really interesting questions about which teams belong. The 49ers is one. Do the Ravens belong in the top 5?
What about the Saints?
I kind of feel like the Saints do, as long as Drew Brees is there and they've got all those weapons. I mean, I hate to say that as a Falcons fan. I wish I could say with a clear conscience that the Falcons belong in that.
I could say Matt Ryan sucks.
They don't. Whatever. They don't clearly belong in that, but the Saints probably do. I mean, it's weird. The offensive teams the teams that were offensive gangbusters did not make it that far.
No, they did not, which is surprising.
And the teams that were defensive gangbusters kind of did, especially the Giants.
If I'm picking teams, here's what I'm worried about with the Saints. Taking all of the hatred I have for the Saints, because I do hate the Saints. I really do. Breeze is going to resign. That's a given.
Yeah.
But they can't keep Breeze, Colston, and Evans, who is one of their best offensive linemen. And there's a rumor that, and they also have their other wide receiver is a free agent. They can't keep them all. And I feel like if they're going to keep Breeze, I think Colston's gone. Their defense has a new coordinator. While Spagnuolo was very good with the Giants, this defended the Giants. The Packers stay up there for me. The Giants because they're the champs. The Pats because of Tom Brady. What is that, 3? I want to say the Ravens, but I'm afraid they're getting old in front of me.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe they'll go the offensive route in the offseason and we'll see some really good offensive players. But
this is going to make surprise people, but assuming they're healthy, the Texans. If they have Schaub and they have Mario Williams, and that team stays healthy, they're scary.
Because one of the great truisms of the NFL is turnover in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And there's always teams on the rise. There's always teams that are going down. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me like if they can stay healthy, the Texans are a team on the rise. Mm-hmm. Look how good they were without Schaub.
Right. And without Mario Williams the entire season.
Well, and without Foster a good part of the season. Mm-hmm. That's a scary team.
I'm going to throw another team at you just because I like that they kind of have this, like, 3 players who you have to account for. I'm going to say the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Lions are a team on the rise. They finally got over the hump.
I think with Sue and the kid from Auburn.
We'll see if Sue can. We'll see if Sue can not
on people.
Have a crazy offseason breakdown.
But we all know how much I love Megatron.
Everybody, if you don't love Megatron, you're silly.
I love Megatron.
He is amazing. If y'all haven't watched, if you're listening and you've never watched the NFL sports science stuff that they do, you should watch the one about Megatron. It's truly amazing.
Listen, I will cook Megatron dinner if you come play for Falcons. I really will.
Yeah, we'll hook you up, Megatron. Come to Atlanta.
Yes, come on.
Come to Atlanta.
But let's switch over to the
Dilfer
ranking.
All right, I want to talk about the Dilfer rankings, but I got one more thing to ask you about the Super Bowl. The only really important question about the Super Bowl, other than, of course, that I won. Best commercial.
Okay, before I get to best commercial, if you're a Coca-Cola exec and listening, stop. I am tired of polar bears. I've seen enough polar bears.
They're so cute.
No, they're not cute.
They're so cute.
I hate them. I hate them with a Matt Ryan-like intensity. That's how much I hate them. The best commercial, I really like the dog working out one. I thought that was fun.
The dog working out followed by the Star Wars bar scene.
Yes.
That was pretty awesome.
I thought that was pretty good.
That might have been my favorite. I kind of enjoyed... The Doritos commercials were generally speaking pretty good. There were like 4 or 5 of them.
I hate the one with the slingshot one.
The slingshot baby was kind of funny.
Really?
I like the Doritos one. There were a lot of dog commercials.
The one about killing the cat, I give you Doritos.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Mm-hmm. The Clint Eastwood "It's Halftime in America" thing was awesome just because of the ridiculous political fallout that occurred afterwards. Because whoever wrote that commercial is clearly riffing off of Reagan's "It's Morning in America" political campaign ad, and everybody thought it was a...
That's too smart for
this podcast. All right, well, coming up, if you're into that sort of thing, next couple weeks, check out thepermutation.com. I'll have a post about that.
Joe's a company man.
So anyway, all right, let's talk about the last pro football thing we'll talk about today. Which is the Trent Dilfer quarterback rankings. And as you well know, I hate Trent Dilfer.
With a Matt Ryan-like intensity?
In fact, considerably more than a Matt Ryan-like intensity. You know, here's a guy that had, at best, a mediocre career in which...
Wasn't he a number 1 draft pick?
Yeah, in which he, through the grace of God, got a Super Bowl ring, and Ray Lewis, and the incompetence of the Atlanta Fulton County prosecutors.
Which turns into
nothing. Got a Super Bowl ring, and now he acts like he's the most knowledgeable person ever. But he came out with these rankings, and what's surprising to me about them is how little I disagree with them, generally speaking. How little controversy there is in these rankings. Let's run through them real quick, and I'll highlight what I think are the only conceivable things that you can even argue about. And he did this right before the Super Bowl, but it actually came out after the Super Bowl, which makes some of his choices weird. I even like the way that he divided this up. He says, all right, there's the Hall of Fame level of quarterbacks.
Okay.
In that list, he's got Peyton Manning, no question. Tom Brady, no question. Aaron Rodgers, if he continues on this, no question.
Okay.
Drew Brees, no question. I know, but no question. And here's the only controversy at the top is Ben Roethlisberger.
Really?
He has Ben Roethlisberger in the Hall of Fame level.
Shout
out to Milledgeville, Georgia. Gotta love those sexual predators, kids.
No, we don't endorse that.
Oh, Ben.
No.
Why? I used to like the Steelers.
Here's a question. Wait, how many rings does he have?
2.
Yes, 2. Oh, he won one with batters and then he won the second with the pass.
Yes.
Here's my thing. If he, and I can't look at their stats. Shout out to lack of laptop for me. But if he has, say, 25,000 career touchdowns, 200 yards.
Passing yards, thank you.
200 touchdowns. I think 2 rings makes him a Hall of Famer.
All right, well...
Not a first ballot, but a Hall of Famer.
Will he get into the Hall of Fame thing? That's a different debate.
Yes.
But does he belong in that top bracket? I don't think he does.
Well, let's hear who the other quarterbacks are as the question.
Right, that's the end of the Hall of Fame level.
Okay.
All right. Then he has what he calls the Eli zone, where he basically says that if Eli... gets another ring, which he just did.
I will put Eli in the... I'll take Ben, I'll put Eli in.
That's exactly what I would do. And I would put Ben Roethlisberger in that, I don't know. Then he has a category that he calls a ring away, which is basically to say these quarterbacks are good.
Well, Ben's been to 3. He's lost 1, right?
Yep.
He may stay in for me, but that's a debate.
So here's a ring away category, which is they're doing really well, but they kind of need a Super Bowl win to validate them. Phillip Rivers, who I think is the ultimate example of that category. He is the archetypal
He's
example.
the new Dan Marino.
Yep. Tony Romo. I think there's a little bit of controversy there.
Yeah,
Matt Ryan, shut up.
No, wait, stop.
Shut up.
Stop. Let's have this conversation. Because here's why this is not only insane, this single-handedly may be the stupidest thing in sports. This is more dumber than anything Skip Bayless says.
More dumber?
More dumber. This is double negative, kids. Matt Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, has a winning percentage of like 67%.
Yeah, or better.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
He's never won a playoff game.
That is true.
He's never performed well in a playoff game.
That is also true.
I cannot imagine him being a ring away from what?
From validation. No, from validation as being good.
Oh.
That's what he says. Look, here, I'll read. This is what he says. This category reflects quarterbacks who have shown the ability to play at an elite level or winning at an elite level, but they need a Super Bowl ring to validate the perception of them. They don't have job security questions. They've proved vital.
Okay. Then I want to say this.
Right.
Rivers should not be on that list.
Really?
Rivers, I think, has shown to me he's a winner. He's tough. He played in the conference final after he had ACL surgery.
Well, I don't doubt his toughness. I doubt whether or not.
I think he's.
I doubt whether or not his. I think he's a producer, right? He produces yardage, but he does not produce victory. He's like the opposite of Tebow. He plays fantastic and just loses. Now, I'm willing to concede that that's probably not his fault entirely.
Sure.
Although the rumors are that his players hate him.
He has Turner as a coach.
Okay, you're right.
Well,
I'm not
there
going
are a lot of
to.
people
I'm just
that do
saying.
not like Phillip Rivers.
I'm saying that the rumors are that his entire offense hates him.
I can believe that.
I think Tony Romo is more of a question on this list than Matt Ryan is.
Really?
Yep. Hey, let me finish the list. Joe Flacco, who I think belongs on that list. He's good, but he needs a victory to validate him.
He needs a ring, but he's the poster boy for this.
Matthew Stafford.
Nah.
I mean, I feel like Stafford just needs a couple more,
he needs some more
healthy
years,
seasons under his belt, right?
Okay.
Jay Cutler.
I hate Jay Cutler.
Yeah, but I mean, he has that look. He has the look of a douchebag about him.
He's Phillip Rivers. He's Phillip Rivers-esque, if that makes any sense. Like
he's not nearly as consistent as Phillip Rivers.
That's my point. He's kind of like a subset version.
Okay, and then Matt Schaub. I feel like Schaub
needs to be healthy.
Schaub and Stafford are kind of in that same position.
Yeah.
They've both had one really good season. Let's see what happens.
Okay, here's my thing about Rivers. I think he wins games. Excuse me, there my voice cracked. I'm a 5-year-old.
Change of life is coming on.
He wins games. I think he has Turner as a coach. He had a brief window when Tomlinson was a monster. He lost Sproles. I personally think that he's kind of in that in between. If he wins a ring and keeps producing, he's possibly a Hall of Fame candidate. If
he doesn't get to that, if he doesn't have postseason experience in several seasons, where he wins games in the postseason in several seasons, he will be like Dan Marino with no playoff success.
Goal, Chargers, goal.
All right, so I'm not sure there's that much controversy in that list. But then there's the mostly good, right?
So you think Tony Romo should be in which part of the list?
I think if you were to rank order that list in terms of how low they are and maybe falling out to the next category, Tony Romo and Jay Cutler should be near the bottom. They are both players who one bad season might convince me that they weren't that good. Whereas I think
I would put Matt Ryan in that category for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if Matt Ryan had a really bad, he would definitely be nearer the bottom. I mean,
to me, I think the three people on the bottom are those three.
Phillip Rivers has definitely had a better career so far than Matt Ryan has.
But I'm high on Flacco. I'm wacko for Flacco.
Well, I'm not, but I think he played well enough to earn a spot on that list, as much as I hate to admit it.
Sure.
All right, then the mostly good category. Again, not a lot of controversy. A couple of things that you sort of raise your eyebrows at, but then you kind of say, well, okay. Cam Newton, right?
Ooh.
Very early.
Ooh.
Very early. Wait another couple seasons, then we'll talk. Michael Vick.
That was a name on the list that we didn't hear. Who, I'm not. You of all people know how much of a Mike Vick fan I am. Really not.
Yeah.
But he should be in the next list.
The next higher?
The higher list. Because I think if Vic goes out and wins the Super Bowl, it's one of those stories you can't.
Look, as a passer.
It's made for a movie.
As a passer, he has had one good season. As a passer.
Sure, concede. But as a player, he's what everybody
He has been special. This year was not.
No, he was beat up this year.
You know my theory about this, though. I think the lack of an offseason hurt him more than almost anyone else in the league.
No, I agree. I think
as a quarterback.
I think Vic, if he wins the Super Bowl, people think Tim Tebow is Vic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard that comparison.
And it's not. Vic is far better of a quarterback.
Well, not only that, they're completely different physical types.
Sure.
Vic is slight and shorter than me.
Right.
Tebow's a big, strong guy.
Big, strong guy, but
But Vic's got that passing skill that I don't think Tebow has.
No, he does not. But I think finish the list. But I'm assuming Tebow's in this list.
Well, that's one of the only points of real controversy. So we got Cam Newton, Michael Vick. Okay, fair. They're at least as good as this level, right?
Sure.
Andy Dalton, which I think is a good pick. He had a good season. We'll see. He's not.
If you're going to put Cam Newton there, you should put Dalton
exactly.
there. I have no problem with that.
All right. Carson Palmer. But you have to put him on that list for career.
Oh, this is career?
Well, but I think you put him on that list because you're like, well, he came in this season. He hadn't been with the team. Maybe he'll be better. Sure. I don't know.
All right.
Matt Hasselbeck.
I like Hasselbeck.
Yeah, I do.
I like Hasselbeck.
He played better than a lot of people think that he did this year. Mm-hmm. Alex Smith.
We're going to talk about this later with the 49ers.
Josh Freeman. I do not think Josh Freeman belongs on that list. And let me...
Listen, Josh Freeman is 6 bad games away from getting replaced.
Yes. Maybe not that many.
You're probably right.
And I'm not even sure it's his fault. I like Josh Freeman, even though I hate the Bucs. Mm-hmm. I hate the Bucs like you hate the Saints. I hate the Bucs. Mm-hmm. Josh Freeman's a good kid. Seems like a decent guy. That team is in disarray.
Yeah.
Then there's the could go either way list, which I
think Freeman should be in that list.
Yeah, maybe. I think he should too. Mark Sanchez, truth.
Sure.
Sam Bradford. I don't know why he puts Bradford this low, but okay.
I think Bradford got beat up this year.
Oh, really? And the season before that, really. Mm-hmm. Kevin Cobb definitely could go either way.
I don't want to talk about him.
Matt Castle.
Listen, I lost a really expensive dinner bet to Kevin Cobb. I just want to say that right now.
No, you lost it to me. It was about Kevin Cobb.
It's not about who I lost it to.
That steak tasted good.
It was tasty.
Matt Castle, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Kyle Orton. I feel like Kyle Orton should be lower.
I just feel dirty with his list right now.
Matt Moore.
He's going to be replaced.
Yeah, Jason Campbell. These are all people that I don't know that they could go either way. Okay. I mean, Sanchez, okay, he could go either way. Sam Bradford he's so young, he could definitely go either way.
I really want to know where Tebow is.
Okay. Then there's the short leash list, which is the very bottom of his list. Okay. And that is, he describes it as guys who, it's the second to last. Guys who may begin 2012 as starters with no guarantee to last without improved performance. Tim Tebow.
He's the only one in the group.
No. Blaine Gabbert, Colt McCoy, Christian Ponder, Rex Grossman, Tavares Jackson, Curtis Painter, John Beck.
Okay, McCoy's getting replaced because they're going to take Robert Griffin.
You really think that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to have a draft schedule.
Okay.
Tim Tebow is either way to me. He's in that group.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I may not like him as a passer.
Yeah, I have problems. I have some Tebow issues, but he does not deserve to be in a group with Curtis Painter.
Why is Curtis Painter on this list?
And then he has the intriguing wild cards, which is people that don't have reps, but maybe they could work out. Matt Flynn for the Packers because he had one good game. He's that guy from Detroit.
Yeah. No, Green Bay.
No. I'm saying he's like that guy from Detroit who replaced what's his face for one game.
Stafford.
Yep, it had a really great season. T.J. Yates, John Skelton, who I don't even know who that is. Brian Hoyer.
Crickets?
Yeah.
Wait, Brian Hoyer plays for the Pats. He's like a backup.
This is Dilfer. A guy I've liked since he went undrafted in 2009. He has upside to start. Only 43 career pass. Okay, whatever, guy. Whatever. All right, so I think the most controversial thing about that entire list is where he puts Tebow. And I think the fact that this came out right after the Super Bowl and there's been a bunch of other stuff happening is why no one has been paying attention to this. I wonder if he's been getting Tebow-esque hate mail. I would be surprised if he doesn't.
I would think he probably gets Tebow. If you remove Tebow's name, to me the controversial one is whether or not Ben is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think you're probably right because that's the top
status of what the Hall of Fame is.
That's a very good point.
All right. So we talked about that. Now we're going to go to let's talk about the NCAA basketball. 30 seconds.
I'm going to take a little bit longer than that.
20 seconds.
NC2A men's basketball is not good. And this is not just me saying it.
I don't recognize it.
This is not just me saying this. Mm-hmm. This is a statistical truth. I actually spent a bunch of time finding the statistical trends document that the NC2A puts out about Division I men's basketball. Mm-hmm. And there's a very clear trend that all you have to do is look at the average points per game.
Yes.
Go back to 1948, which is when they started collecting this data. Obviously, that's pre-shot clock era. You've got 53 points a game. It's terrible, right? It goes up steadily until about the the height of it is about the 70s, the early 70s. You've still got, 1972, 77.7 average per game. 1976, 75.7. You've still got pretty good averages, and then you hit the 80s, and it starts going down. And we are now at 69.3 for 2010 points per game average, and this year it is down so far to 69.05.
Okay.
My guess is that if you broke it down into just the good teams, and I've yet to be able to find an access point to those statistics. My guess is if you just broke it down into good teams, you'd find that it's going down even more. I heard some statistics about 2 weeks ago about the way that the number of winners in ACC versus ACC games where the winner scores less than 60 points, and it is not good, and it's because of the NBA. It's because of the one and done rule.
Sure.
If you watched that Duke Carolina game the other night where Doc Rivers' kid hits that basket, in years past, they would have talked about how great it was going to be to watch this kid play over the course of his career. What they actually said in that game was he's going to be going to the NBA soon.
Yes.
The NBA is killing NC2A men's basketball. If I had my way, I would have the NBA say, it is a requirement for our jobs. If you want a job in the NBA as a player, you must have an undergraduate degree.
I really disagree with you on that.
And
here's my premise on this. I think NCAA basketball has gotten bad. I agree with you. This is the NBA, and I think there needs to be something done to the age rule that it needs to be fixed, because this hasn't been an issue up until maybe the last 15 or so years. There used to be stars in the NBA.
Yep.
And there aren't anymore because there's no real incentive.
You mean in the NCAA in college, right?
College basketball, yeah. But I don't think there should be a requirement to have a degree, because I feel like this is kind of getting. I don't want to get in a race on this one, but there are other professions that you can easily access where it's not a requirement that you have a master's degree.
Okay,
if you have a certain talent.
What do you mean of an undergraduate degree?
Sorry.
Yeah, but that is not true of professional professions, right? Like being a salesperson for most major corporations, you got to have a BA. And
but you can be a salesperson. Like my point is, if there let's use an example. Let's say that there's a school that teach like an advertising and marketing school. Georgia State will use them, that teaches you how to be a salesman. And a kid comes in, and he is 19, 20 years old, and he's an uber salesman. The professors rave about him. There's no reason for him to continue his education into his junior, senior
That's
year.
an example that does not exist. You were talking about a hypothetical that never happened.
Sure, but the hypothetical is only to explain it, to correlate it to...
Yeah, but you're about to make the argument that this is the only place where you have to have that you can't just go into business.
This
and
is
that's
the only
lie.
place where someone who is 19 years old can exhibit a skill set that can make him...
That is false.
Give me an example.
Look, here's your best argument, okay? Your best argument is Bill Gates. No, your best argument is Bill Gates.
Sure, every argument
your best argument is Bill Gates, because you could say, if you're a genius computer hardware designer, you can go into business for yourself. And you don't have to have an undergraduate degree. In fact, it's my understanding that neither he nor Steve Jobs had one.
No, I don't like that example, and here's why.
Yeah, you better not like it. There's a reason why it's a bad example.
The reason Bill Gates' example is bad is because he created something off his own.
Right, exactly.
That's not my argument.
No, but that's why I say it's your best argument. Because in any other industry where there is a formal industry and the access point for whatever you do professionally is the industry, the example that you are talking about where there's some kid who's awesome and they wave him through without a BA does not exist.
I think that it's an easier correlation between something that I think something along the lines of a profession that you're thinking of is, I think, different than, like, the example that I enjoy or I agree with are things like people who are like savants when it comes to music or playing a certain instrument that they want to then go and play for, say, the Philharmonica or whatever major orchestra there is.
Sure.
And my thing is that while you're right, like, I could not become the CEO of Bank of America,
right?
Even if I was an uber genius,
right?
I understand that, but I think that is different because the kid who is a super genius at 19 doesn't know enough about that profession, that particular building,
right.
that particular company to run the company.
Here's this is a longer discussion, and I'm willing to be persuaded about it, but, John Thompson, I heard John Thompson talk about this once, and he made a bunch of arguments that I really was impressed by. And one of them is that every example you can think of in the NBA of a kid that went in from high school and is doing okay. Mm-hmm. Kevin Garnett, LeBron James, those kind of folks. And by all accounts, by the way, as much as I think Garnett is a douche on the court, apparently off the court, he's a really stand-up guy.
Yes, yes, he is.
And say what you want about LeBron, he's a pretty stand-up guy in the community.
He's clearly the best basketball player in the league.
Yes.
He's better than Kobe.
Think about the fact that for every one of those kids, there are hundreds, if not more, that counted on going to the NBA directly, and it screwed up their lives. If you knew that you had to have a BA, it would not only change the actions of athletes, it would change the actions of schools.
Here's a rule I would love to see. And I think the NFL, or even NBA, I think, has this, where they submit your name that you're going to apply for the draft, and they give you an opportunity for owners and et cetera, to evaluate whether or not you are draftable or not, or where you.
That happens now, right? Yeah.
But I think part of the problem is that there needs to be put a requirement on that indicates that if you were to enter the NBA draft, that you will be drafted.
Yeah, but there's no way to do that.
No,
there's no way to do that.
I think that's the only, because at this point, if you decided you're ready for your profession of basketball, the NBA is not the only route you can go to. You can go to other leagues and play in other leagues.
That is true.
So I kind of feel like it's kind of...
But I'm telling you, man...
It's like if I drop out of college...
NC2A men's basketball is going to disappear as an important force. It's already disappearing. You watch the conference realignment is not even thinking about basketball anymore.
No, it's football.
I don't know. But anyway, that's where we are in NC2A men's basketball. We will obviously come back to this as March Madness approaches, as the draft occurs, etc.
All right. Let's talk about the NBA. And there's really one thing we need to talk about first. It's Linsanity. If you are a fan of the New York Knicks, this is a blessing. This has been a really good month for people in New York. You guys won a crappy Super Bowl title. All of a sudden, Carmelo goes away and your team gets better.
You have...
The Yankees haven't started using steroids.
That win against the Lakers the other night, no Carmelo, no Amari. They shot free throws like crap at the end of that game. They still won.
Because of Linsanity.
Because the difference in that team's demeanor and energy when he's on the court and when he's not is amazing.
Listen, D'Antoni, I don't think will ever be able to win an NBA title because he didn't care about defense.
No, I think you're right.
He can make a point guard.
Yep.
And I've heard some Knicks people say, well, when Baron Davis get here, no, Baron should probably stay put. This kid's playing too well. And if Melo comes back and learns that he can't shoot the ball 50 times a game, then I think that Linsanity gives them an opportunity to be a very, very formidable basketball team.
If I were the coach of that team, I would give that kid the ball, and I would put him in charge. And I would look at my so-called superstars who have not done anything for me in terms of real production since they got back. And I would say, let the kid feed you. We're going to teach him to be a real point guard. He already demonstrates a real talent and a desire to pass the ball.
He's got skills. There's no question about that.
And it's not like the Knicks were useful before he showed up. It's not like they were, Linsanity is real. Let me say one more thing about this, though.
Are you trying to compare him to Tebow?
No.
Thank God.
No. Tebow is like Robert Horry. I came up with this analogy. Tebow is like Robert Horry, not Linsanity. Linsanity is more like Steve Nash, with a bigger body and maybe more ups. It'd be hard to have fewer.
Yeah, sure.
But
this is true.
Tebow was like the Robert Horry of the NFL because he didn't necessarily play real well for most of the game, but he hit them big shots right at the end.
Oh yeah, nice, well played.
Whereas Horry had some good years. He had some good seasons where he was consistent, but Tebow is more like that guy. No, it's that Lin is a great player, and we haven't seen a lot of really great Asian players. Particularly not a lot of really great Asian players who were born and raised in the United States, or at least...
Which Lin is.
And I'm really sorry that every announcer seems to have taken it to heart that they're going to trot out every Asian stereotype they can think of just because he's Asian.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Somebody put on their Facebook, one of my friends put on their Facebook the other day that this was like a Jackie Robinson moment. And I certainly don't think that's true. But it did remind me in the sense that so many announcers just decided it was time to trot out the Asian stereotypes. And even fans will have these signs in the stands that say things like Emperor Lin, and it'll be printed in that font they use for Chinese takeout menus. And it's just so wrong. Just stop. Yeah. He's a great player. Leave it at that. Stop.
I don't mind if you want to call him Emperor Lin. I understand it. It's clever. It's cute.
But he's already got Linsanity.
Linsanity is better than Vinsanity because Vinsanity sucked. Whoever said that this is the Jackie Robinson moment, you're an idiot. Sorry. I understand
it's obviously not.
I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. Joe does.
I think it was meant to be a joke in defense of this person.
Great. So if anyone out there listening thinks that this really is a Jackie Robinson moment, you're an idiot. This is also not a Tebow thing because Tebow's a little bit different. Because Tebow came with a lot of fanfare, maybe one of the best quarterbacks in college football history. I didn't even know who this kid was. No. I didn't even know he played for Harvard. That's
Harvard. Why you didn't know who he was.
Well, there you go. But
by the way, Harvard, a school, this is my favorite stat of the day, a school that has produced, I think, more than twice as many presidents as it has NBA players.
That probably is correct. I would agree.
I believe it's 3 NBA players.
I think Harvard is actually ranked in the NCAA tournament, or ranked right now in college basketball. Here's the question, though. Now that the Knicks have Lin, are they a contender or a pretender?
I think we cannot possibly answer that question until both Stoudemire and Anthony come back and we see what happens with Lin. Because I feel like while I watched Carmelo clapping while Lin was playing so well the other night, I really wonder, I think you're right, I think he's a selfish player, and I think when he comes back and realizes Lin is taking the spotlight, we may have some trouble. I'm not the biggest Carmelo Anthony fan, so I wouldn't be sad to see him shipped off, but
I'd take him on the Hawks.
Yeah, well, we'll take almost anybody. All right, so
I think that they are one and done in a world unless they don't play the Hawks in the second round.
Right.
Like if they're a 3, 6, 7, or 8 seed, they're done.
Yeah.
If they're a 5 seed and they're playing a 4 seed, they got a chance.
Yeah, because the 4 seed's us right now, and Atlanta's not good.
Well, we talked about that already.
All right. I do have one more thing to say about the NBA generally before I want to play a game with you.
Okay. Wait, are we going to talk about the All-Stars?
Yes.
Okay.
But this is my question. I want to say, it's not a question really, it's just a statement. The last time we talked, the Lakers were not in the playoffs. Right now they are.
No!
They are. Eric's trying to find something to throw. Right now, in the division standings, in the Western Conference, the Lakers are 7th. They are at the 7th seed. Just above the mighty powerhouse Denver Nuggets.
Oh.
So
wait, who's ninth?
It's hard to say. Let's see.
If you look at EPA,
it's Memphis.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't beat the Lakers?
Yeah.
A point guard from Harvard just beat Kobe Bryant, and you guys can't listen.
And by the way, as much as I'm willing to throw around how much I don't like the Lakers, when I was talking about Linsanity online, and all these people came on and said, well, it's not really impressive that they beat the Lakers because they have an anemic offense. Shut up. What? Shut up. The Lakers are not having a great year, but shut up. That is a terrible argument. All right. I want to talk about the All-Stars for just a second, and I just want to make a quick comparison for you. I want to play this game. I have a couple of players to compare. And I'm only going to tell you their statistics.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me, on the first issue, which one of these players belongs in the All-Star game.
Okay.
All right? Player number 1.
Okay.
Points per game average 18.4.
Okay.
Rebounds per game average 3.9.
Okay.
Okay?
We're
Player number 2.
About a guard, I'm assuming.
Player number 2.
Okay.
Points per game average 15.9.
Okay.
Rebounds per game 9.3. They have essentially the same assists per game.
Okay.
So you got one guy who's basically 18 and 4.
Okay.
The other guy who's 16 and 9.
Okay. And the same assists, right?
Same assists. Who belongs in the All-Star game? 18 and 4, 16 and 9.
I'm assuming the 16-9 guys are power forward or forward. For some reason, I think that might be Danny Granger. So, what are their shooting percentages, if you don't mind me asking?
Their overall field goal percentages, the 18 and 4 player, his field goal percentage is 43%. The 16 and 9 guy is 47%. So the 16 and 9 guy has a better field goal percentage.
I take the 16 and 9 guy.
The 16 and 9 guy is Josh Smith.
Oh, okay.
The 18 and 4 guy is Joe Johnson.
Yeah, Joe should not be an all-star.
No.
Josh probably should.
I know, and I hate it. And Josh is still really having problems hoisting up the three when he doesn't need to be.
He does.
His 3-point percentage this year so far is under 31%, and he's still clocking up those threes all the time. But that comparison alone is enough to tell you that he should be going to the All-Star game instead of Joe Johnson. And anyone who says, well, that's a difference in positions, you haven't watched the Hawks play. Josh Smith has been a guard in a lot more circumstances than Joe Johnson has. And you can at least think of a couple games in the postseason where Josh Smith has stepped up. You cannot think of a game in the postseason where Joe Johnson has stepped up.
I'm sorry, we had a bit of a gap moment. Apparently during the podcast, Whitney Houston just passed away. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston.
Indeed. Whitney Houston, Don Cornelius, who's the next one.
Oh, man. That's
coming in threes.
Yeah, that sucks.
Barry Gordy, watch your back.
Ooh. Obviously, Al Horford, if healthy, would have been the obvious all-star.
Sure. And in fact, even looking at his... There's only 2 Hawks who are currently averaging above 50% in field goal percentage. One of them is a Horford, who obviously doesn't count because he hasn't played in a while. Guess who the other one is?
Is he a starter or a bench player?
Honestly, I feel bad for not knowing. I'm pretty sure he's a starter.
Oh my God! Not Tristan Brady.
No, Zaza Pachulia.
Oh well, yeah,
he's one of those guys that it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
He has got the best field goal percentage, but the rest of the Hawks not so.
Here's the thing: everyone wants Josh Smith to be in the All-Star game, but I'm gonna say if I'm comparing those 2 players, I want player B.
Yep.
But 16 and 9 isn't. You know who should be in the All-Star game is Greg Monroe in Detroit, averaging I think like 17 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have him, or like I'd rather have because Joe's too bloody easy. I can't think of anybody in the East that didn't make it. That I thought Josh not making it, Joe. Greg Monroe not making it, and Joe Johnson making it was a joke. But
yeah, all right. I've got another one, and this is not an All-Star game issue. It's just a wow, I can't believe that was true issue. By the way, Greg Monroe currently averaging 16.5 points a game and 10 total rebounds. So slightly better and a 53.3 field goal percentage average. All right, here's the other one, and this is one of those ones that I kind of thought, boy, this would be fun to compare, and I was surprised at the results of my comparison. All right, we got 2 players. I will tell you they are...
one of them Matt Ryan? He sucks.
No, they are both NBA players.
Joe Johnson, he sucks.
One of them's, and I'm going to just round this up so we don't have to screw around.
Okay.
Currently averaging 21 points per game.
Okay.
And 16 total rebounds.
Okay.
That's player A.
Okay.
Player B, currently averaging 25 points per game and 14 total rebounds.
Okay.
Any guess as to who they are?
Is it Howard and Kevin Love?
You're a genius. It is Howard and Kevin Love.
Let me see if I can pick the person.
Yeah, which one is which? One's 21 points a game, 16 rebounds.
Howard is the one that's 21. Love is 25.
Yep. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
I think statistically...
Hold on. For the people who are not looking, I did not have any guess who that was.
He really didn't.
I don't have a laptop in front of me.
I came up with that comparison about 20 minutes before we started the podcast. So
here's what this is the reason why I think Howard is overrated. Howard is overrated because he can't get Kevin Love numbers, and that is shocking to me.
And I've been thinking about it's so weird. Dwight Howard also has more just bad games, just games where he doesn't show up. And then he'll have these 25-25 nights where you go, wow, that guy's the greatest player. Yeah, well, I personally don't think he's trying hard.
No, he's not.
But yeah, to me, those are the and we'll play this game a little bit more as the season goes on.
I like that game. We should keep it.
All right.
So, the Will Ferrell intros. For those of you who have not seen this may be one of the greatest things ever to happen in NBA basketball. Essentially, Will Ferrell just roast the New Orleans Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. Apparently, Carlos Boozer still lives with his mother. Derrick Rose likes Little Debbie cakes. This is ingenious.
Yeah, he did they let him do the player intros live at a game, and it was awesome. Mm-hmm. And one of the local guys on the radio station on the local radio stations here in Atlanta that does sports talk said this is destined to be something that happens a lot. I don't know that that's true. Although some of the examples he gave I thought were pretty compelling. How great would Chris Rock be at this?
Oh my God!
I don't know that they would be able to let him do it. They might have to censor it.
If I could get 3 comedians to do this, one is Kevin Hart. One is Cat Williams. The other is Dave Chappelle.
Well, if you could get Dave Chappelle to do it, I'll sit and listen to that all day long. But I'd put Chris Rock. I love Chris Rock.
You do.
And I would put him right at the top of that list. I think he'd be hysterical. There's probably some comedians we're not even thinking of who ought to be in that list. No, he's not funny anymore. All right. I know. He was great in the 80s.
All right.
But anyway, when I was watching this, it was occurring to me that comedy is one of those few moments where you can tell the truth about somebody and not get your ass beat. And so we were thinking, and we'll continue to work on this as we do additional podcasts, that there might be a good opportunity for us to do some player intros that tell the harsh truth about players. Yeah, and I'll just start with my favorite, 2 of my favorite ones.
This is going to be bad.
Because I think Carlos Boozer deserves a slightly different player intro.
And then
it should be like, he's not as much of a bust as we thought he might be.
No. I think if I was to do Carlos Boozer, my Carlos Boozer impression would be from Duke, standing 6'8". He can't play basketball, but that's not his fault. He's from Canada. Carlos Boozer. No, he's from Alaska. How the hell did you get from Alaska to Duke?
Know. How did you play basketball in Alaska?
I don't know.
And then he still loves hoisting up the 3 when it's a terrible idea. Josh Smith.
You know what I want? I want one for Sean Kemp. I love Sean Kemp. But Sean Kemp player intro should be, he has more babies than points per game, Sean Kemp.
I just feel like Sean Kemp may have been the ugliest player to play basketball.
No, that will always belong to, what was his name? Played for Houston. Looked like, oh my God, he looked like a roach. What was that guy's name? Jesus Christ.
Who's the guy that used to play with LeBron in Cleveland who looks like a crackhead? Delonte West.
He still looks
like a crackhead. My wife, who does not watch professional basketball, saw him briefly on the screen the other night and was like, what is wrong with that guy?
Sam Cassell.
Oh, yeah. Sam Cassell looked like a toad.
Yeah.
Looked like a toad.
All right. We need to go back to football really quickly. We forgot to talk about where Peyton Manning should probably play.
I mean, Arizona. The people that say he should play in Washington hate Peyton Manning.
They clearly.
That is shout out to Stephen Height. One of the
Height. We're really sorry, but we're
sorry, man.
No.
Who do you have for him to play with? You have no offensive line.
It's
going to be another year of sexy Rexy.
Crickets. Here's a couple of teams that I think he could play for. Obviously, Arizona because of obvious reasons. Could you imagine him with the 49ers?
It's not going to happen.
But could you imagine?
Yes. If I were Peyton Manning and I could engineer myself a place to go, my 2 choices would be Arizona and the 49ers. Mm-hmm. And not in that order. I would choose the 49ers first. They have a fantastic defense, which is something he's never had.
No.
They have a strong running game, which is something he's only occasionally had. The only problem is, who does he throw to? I mean, they've got...
If I'm the 49ers and I talk to Shaq about this, they should push hard to get Ocho Cinco. Ocho doesn't look like he's lost a step. He was wide open in the Super Bowl and Brady went through him the football. The most amazing things I've never seen someone that open. I don't understand it. Okay. We just want to throw that in.
Oh, and people say the Dolphins too.
No.
I don't know about that pick.
No, I don't like that one.
That is a team whose defense is not as good as some of the other teams that they're talking about, and who also has no wide receiving core.
No. The rumor that I heard, which kind of makes sense in this regard, is him going to the Titans. Because
really?
Of Tennessee. Yes.
Who do they have for him to throw to?
Chris Johnson?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't think the options are great for Peyton Manning. I think if he can get on in Arizona, he should.
He should. But okay, let's so we're going to talk about NASCAR.
Jimmy Johnson's good.
And now on to boxing. Floyd Mayweather has signed to fight Miguel Cotto.
Boo. Boo.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? But this is going to be a very high grossing card. Number one, May 5th is Cinco de Mayo.
Sure.
We all get a little Mexican, get drunk. That's probably not good, is it? That's probably not good.
No.
All right. We'll all get a little toasty. But it'll be Miguel Cotto and Floyd Mayweather Jr. fighting for Cotto's junior middleweight title. Floyd is fighting at a full 154 pounds. He is not asking for a catchweight, which is great. Cotto was going to make somewhere upwards of 30 mil. Floyd to make about 40. Cotto is the number 3 boxing attraction. On the undercard, this tells you how far Shane Mosley's failed.
Shane.
Shane Mosley will fight Canelo Alvarez for his version of a junior middleweight title at 154. This is insanity. Look, before we get to the Floyd Pacquiao was fighting Bradley. And watch this, Joe. Do you know who Timothy Bradley is?
No.
Thank you. Moving on.
But honestly, though, despite the fact I don't know who that is, I feel like that is going to be a fight that people are going to watch. It certainly won't be as... No, and not in the sense that it's going to be a really popular fight, but people are going to watch it carefully to see if Pacquiao takes care of business.
Sure.
And,
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And I'll ask you the rest of the question involved with that later, but sure. Continue.
Here's the thing. Floyd will be a favorite against Cotto. Cotto's kind of robotic, but I love Cotto. I sympathize with some of the things that he's gone through. I love Miguel Cotto. That will be a very fun fight to watch. Canelo Alvarez is going to pummel Shane Mosley. And this will be a savage display. Look, Shane Mosley was arguably one of the best fighters in the world for a good period of time. He's going to get starched in this fight.
I can't hear his name. Close. I cannot hear Sugar Shane's name without thinking of that time in Vegas that we were in. Eric and I used to go to Vegas together for debate tournaments, seriously. For debate tournaments on a regular basis. And for some strange reason, we were there during a lot of fights. And there was this one fight where Sugar Shane was I don't even know who he was boxing. And I just remember there was this crazy guy. It might have been Oscar. Yeah, I think you're right. There was this crazy guy standing on the corner, one of the big corners in the strip, just yelling, Sugar Shane! Over and over again, and he was there for hours. And so every time I think of Sugar Shane Mosley, but I think you're right, he's going to get destroyed.
Listen, Cotto is a natural southpaw. He can fight in a southpaw stance, but primarily fights, in an upright, normal position. He's fast, but he's not Mayweather fast, and he didn't have the coordination. Although he'll hang with it for a while. That fight might go to the middle rounds. It may be a decision, but I think Floyd wins right now. There's nothing that Shane Mosley can do for me to make me think that he is going to defeat Canelo Alvarez, who is too big, too strong, too fast, hits too hard, and Shane looks like a shot fighter. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Well, how long has it been since Shane looked good in a fight? It's been a while.
Maybe 2 years when he destroyed Margarito.
Look, for me, this is the kind of takeaway question from the Cotto Mayweather fight. Does this make it more or less likely that Mayweather eventually fights Pacquiao?
This has been my feeling about this fight. I have my own feelings about what I think would happen in a Pacquiao fight.
Sure.
There's another fight that I think is a much more solid challenge for Floyd, and that is him possibly fighting middleweight champion Sergio Martinez for the middleweight championship of the world, which holds prestige because if you know anything about boxing, there are 2 belts that really matter. It's a heavyweight title and it's a middleweight title because of guys like Sugar Robinson and Sugar Ray Leonard and guys like that. I think that makes it more likely that he will fight Sergio Martinez either towards the end of the year or the first of next year, depending on the prison sentence, than maybe Pacquiao. Because I just think that the Pacquiao top-ranked Golden Boy issue is just going to be a mess. And they're able to make deals with people other than themselves. The problem is Pacquiao can't fight Martinez because Martinez technically is too big and Pacquiao can't get up to 154 to have that kind of fight. But if Floyd fought Sergio Martinez, there's a strong possibility he loses that fight. But that's
let me present the following scenario, which I don't think is an entirely unlikely scenario. Because I think it's clear the opposite of this scenario is not good for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. But let's say Mayweather fights Cotto. He wins, but it's really close, maybe even somewhat controversial. All right? Pacquiao fights the guy I don't know and looks really good. Does that make it more likely that we see a Mayweather or Pacquiao fight?
Here's the problem. Shout out to all the boxing freaks out there. The general consensus among die-hard boxing fans is Timothy Bradley is not a challenge. And here's why. Bradley is the guy at 140. He's going up to 147 for the first time. The first time he was at one, he has no punching power, which means that Pacquiao really doesn't have anything he should be worried about. Now, Timothy Bradley has a head the size of a bowling ball. So he can
only slightly bigger than Pacquiao.
Right. And he could headbutt him to death. But Pacquiao probably will win easily just because what Timothy Bradley does, Pacquiao does better and is faster and it's harder. But that scenario is right because the more competitive fight is Floyd versus Cotto than the Bradley-Pacquiao fight.
Obviously, if Pacquiao fights poorly, that dramatically reduces the chance that he and Mayweather fight.
Right, because they don't want to put him in Floyd.
I'm just saying.
That could be the best case scenario. If Floyd wins a competitive fight, if it's controversial, then you may get a rematch more than you will get Pacquiao.
Yeah.
But if he wins a competitive fight, but Pacquiao looks sensational, then the demand for it grows again because now it's like, okay, the worst case scenario is to have what just happened. Floyd annihilates some opponent.
Pacquiao struggles. Right.
And then there's no way you put him in the ring with Floyd because then everyone kind of is like, this is not a fight.
All right. Fair enough.
Rest in peace, Whitney Houston.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll be interesting in the next podcast to see if things have started to come out about Whitney. There are always a lot of rumors, always a lot of stuff going on.
Yep. Well, that's installment number 5. Please tell your friends. Listen, we've got a Twitter feed. Follow us on Twitter, MissedOnPoints.
That's at MissedOnPoints.
At MissedOnPoints, if those of you who are not Twitter friendly like myself. We will have a Facebook page coming up within the next couple of weeks. We also have our own YouTube page. We're going to have little things on the YouTube page for you guys to check out. So thanks for all the love. Please tell your friends. Please retweet us. On behalf of myself and Dr. Joe Bellon, we're out.